2nd November 2021 Morning Murli. Om Shanti. BapDada. Madhupan. Sweet children, you have to become accurate in your thoughts, words and actions because you are the Brahman top-knots who are even higher than the deities. Question: what is the most incognito and refined aspect that even your children understand with difficulty? Answer: to understand the secret of shivbaba and Brahma Baba is to understand the most incognito and refined aspect. Some children become confused about this. The father himself shares the secret early in the morning. I teach you children through this body. It is not that I ride in the chariot throughout the whole day. Om Shanti. The spiritual father explains to you spiritual children, who are the children, Brahmins. Never forget that you are Brahmins who are to become deities. You also have to remember the clans. Here, among yourselves, you are all Brahmins. The unlimited Father is teaching you Brahmins. Thus, Brahma is not teaching you. It is Shivbaba who is teaching you. Only through Brahma does he teach Brahmins. You cannot become deities without becoming Brahmins from Shudras. You receive the inheritance from Shivbaba. Shivbaba is everyone's father. This Brahma is called the grandfather. Everyone has a worldly father. People on the path of devotion remember the father from beyond the world. Your children now understand that thus one is the subtle father whom no one knows, even though there is a temple to Brahma. Here too there is a temple to Adidev, the father of people. He is also called Mahavir. Some even call him Dilwala. However, it is in fact Shivbaba, not Brahma, who wins your hearts. It is only the one Father who makes all souls constantly happy and gives them joy. Only you children know this. People of the world don't know anything at all. We are Brahmins and we are claiming our inheritance from Shivbaba. You too repeatedly forget this. Remembrance is very easy. Sannyasis use the word yoga. You just remember the Father. Yoga is a common word. Thus is not called a yoga ashram. The Father and the children are sitting here. It is the children's duty to remember the unlimited Father. We are Brahmins and we are claiming our inheritance from the grandfather through Brahma. Thus is why Shivbaba says, continue to remember me as much as possible. You may also remember the pictures. You would then remember you are Brahmins and claiming your inheritance from the Father. Do Brahmins ever forget their caste? You forget you are Brahmins when you are in the company of Shudras. Brahmins are even higher than deities because you Brahmins are knowledgeful. God is called Jani Jananhar, means the one who knows everything within. This does not mean he sits and sees what is in each one's heart. No, he has the knowledge of the beginning, the middle, and the end of the world. He is the seed. The seed knows the beginning, middle, and end of the tree. So, you have to remember such a Father a great deal. Thus one's soul is also remembering that Father. That Father says, it is only when this one, means Brahma, remembers me that he will claim his status. You too will claim a status if you remember me. At first you came down here without bodies, bodiless, and you have to become bodiless again and return home. All other bodily relations bring you sorrow. So, since you have found me, why do you remember them? I have come to take you back to the new world. There is no sorrow there. There are divine relationships there. Here, in the relationship of man and woman, they are at sorrow first because they became vicious. I am now making you worthy of that world where there is no question of vice. It is remembered, lust is the greatest enemy. This is because it causes sorrow from its beginning through the middle to the end. You would not say that anger causes sorrow from the beginning through the middle till the end. No, you have to conquer lust because it is this that causes sorrow from its beginning through the middle to the end. It makes you impure. The word impure is used when referring to vice. You have to conquer that enemy. You know that you are becoming the deities of the golden age. Until you have this faith, you won't be able to attain anything. The Father is explaining to you, children, you have to become accurate in your thoughts, words, and actions. This requires effort. No one in the world knows you are making Bharat into heaven. As you make further progress, they will understand it. They even want there to be one world, one kingdom, one religion, and one language. You can explain 5000 years ago there was one kingdom and one religion, and it was called heaven. No one knows about the kingdom of Ram or the kingdom of Ravan. You too didn't know about them. You are now becoming those with clean intellects, number-wise, according to the efforts you make. The Father sits here and explains to you. So, you definitely do have to follow the Father's directions. The Father says, while living in the old world, live as pure as a lotus. Also continue to remember me. The Father is explaining to souls. I have come to teach souls through these organs. This is a dirty old world and a dirty body. You Brahmins are not worthy of being worshipped. You are only worthy of being praised. It is the deities who are worthy of being worshipped. You make the world into heaven by following Srimad, and this is why you are praised but cannot be worshipped. It is definitely Brahmins, not deities, who are praised. The Father is changing you from Shudras into Brahmins. Both the souls and bodies of deities are pure. Your souls are now continuing to become pure. Your bodies are not pure. You are now making Bharat into heaven by following God's directions. You too are becoming worthy of heaven. You definitely do have to become Satopradhan. It is only you Brahmins whom the Father sits and teaches. The tree of Brahmins will continue to grow. Those who became firm Brahmins will then become deities. Thus is a new tree. And there are these storms of Maya that affects it. There will not be any storms in the golden age. Here, Maya doesn't allow you to stay in remembrance of Baba. You know that it is only by having remembrance of Baba that you will become Satopradhan from Tamopradhan. Everything depends on having remembrance. The ancient yoga of Bharat is very well known. People abroad want someone to come and teach them ancient yoga. There are two types of yoga. One is that of Hatha yogis and the other is that of Raj yogis. You are Raj yogis, the other has continued for many days, a long time. You now know about Raj Yoga. What do the sannyasis know about Raj Yoga? The Father has come and told you, I come and teach you Raj Yoga. Krishna cannot teach it. This is the ancient yoga of Bharat. In the Gita, instead of my name, they have inserted the name of Krishna. It has made everything so different. When it is the birth of Shiv, there is also the birth of your paradise, in which there is the kingdom of Krishna. You know, when it is the birthday of shivbaba, It is also the birth of the Gita and then the birth of paradise. You will then become pure. Establishment is taking place exactly as it did in the previous cycle. Therefore, the birth of shivbaba means the birth of heaven. Baba himself comes and establishes heaven. The Father says, "Now remember me, because you do not remember me." Maya makes you perform one scene or another. When you don't remember me, you are slapped. By staying in remembrance, you won't be slapped. Thus is the boxing that takes place. You know, it is not a human being who is your enemy. Ravan is your enemy. After a Kumar and Kumari get married, they became impure and became enemies of one another. They spend hundreds of thousands of rupees on the wedding. The father says to get married means to ruin yourself. The paralogic father has issued an ordinance. Children, lust is the greatest enemy. Conquer it and make a promise for purity. No one should become impure. You have become impure for birth after birth through this vice, and this is why lust is said to be the greatest enemy. The Father explains to you very clearly how you have taken 84 births. Now you have to return home. You should have pure pride. We souls are following the Father's directions and making Bharat into heaven. We will then rule the kingdom in heaven. To the extent that you make effort, so you will claim a status. Whether you become a king, a queen, or a subject, you are seeing how kings and queens are being created. It is remembered, follow the Father. This refers to the present time. It is not said of worldly relationships. Thus, Father gives you a direction. Constantly remember me alone, and your sins will be absolved. You understand that you are following very good directions and serving many people. Your children come to the Father, and so shivbaba refreshes you, and thus one also refreshes you. Thus one is also learning. Shivbaba says, "I come in the morning." Okay, when someone comes to meet me, can this Brahma not explain anything? Would he say, "Baba, you come and explain"? I won't explain. These are very incognito and deep matters. I can explain the best of all. Why do you think that only shivbaba explains and this one could not explain anything? You also know this one explained in the previous cycle too, and which is why he attained his status. Mama also used to explain. She too claims a high status. You see Baba there in the subtle region. Your children have to follow him. It is only the poor who surrender themselves. Wealthy ones cannot surrender themselves. It is the poor who say, "Baba, all of this is yours." Shivbaba is the bestower. He never takes anything. He says to you children, "All of this is yours. I do not build a palace for myself here or there. I make you into the masters of heaven." You now have to fill your aprons with the jewels of knowledge. People go to the temples and say, "Fill my apron." However, which apron is it and what should it be filled with? It is Lakshmi who fills everyone's apron because she gives money. People do not go to Shiv. It is said of Krishna that he spoke the Gita, but they do not say to Krishna, "Fill our aprons." They go and say this to Shankar. They believe Shiv and Shankar are one and the same. Shankar is the one who empties their aprons. No one can empty our aprons. Destruction has to take place. It is remembered the flames of destruction emerge from the sacrificial fire of the knowledge of Rudra. However, no one believes that. Your children have to live in your households and also carry on with your business. The father gives advice after feeling each one's pulse because he feels, why should I give such advice that children would not be able to follow it? He gives advice after feeling each one's pulse. You have to come to this one. He will give you the right advice. Each one of you should ask, Baba, what should I do in this situation? What should I now do? The Father sends you to heaven. You know that we are going to become residents of heaven. At present, we are residents of hell. You are now neither in hell nor in heaven. The anchors of those who have become Brahmins have now been raised from this dirty world. You have now left the shores of the Iron Age world. Some Brahmins are going ahead very fast and some are slow on the pilgrimage of remembrance. When some let go of the Father's hand, they choke and drown. That is, they end up in the Iron Age again. You know the boatman is now taking you across. There are many types of physical pilgrimage. Your pilgrimage is only the one and it is completely unique. Yes, storms do come and they break your remembrance. Make effort to make this pilgrimage of remembrance very firm. You are karma yogis. As much as possible, let your hands do the work and your hearts be in remembrance. You have been lovers for half the cycle and have been remembering your beloved. Baba, we have a lot of sorrow here. Now make us into the masters of the land of happiness. If you stay on the pilgrimage of remembrance, your sins will finish. You claim the inheritance of heaven and have now lost it. Bharat was heaven, and this is why people speak of ancient Bharat. People give a lot of respect to Bharat because it is the biggest and also the oldest. You know, destruction is just ahead. Those who understand everything very well have a lot of happiness inside. So many people come to the exhibitions. Look how so many types of sages and holy men came to Ahmedabad. They say you are telling the truth. However, it does not sit in their intellects that they have to claim the inheritance from the Father. As soon as they leave here, everything finishes. You now know the Father is taking us to heaven. There will neither be the jail of a worm nor the other jail there. You won't even see any sign of a jail. Neither jail will exist. Here, all of this is the pump of Maya. Nowadays, everything happens quickly. Even death continues to take place quickly. In the golden age, there won't be any such calamities. Here, death takes place quickly, and there will also be a lot of sorrow. Everything will finish. The whole earth will become new. In the golden age, there was the kingdom of deities and will definitely exist again. As you make further progress, you will see what happens. It will be a very fearsome scene. Your children have had visions. The main thing for the children is the pilgrimage of remembrance. This is the pilgrimage of the ascending stage. Acha, to the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance and good morning from the mother, the father, BapDada. The spiritual father says Namaste to the spiritual children. The spiritual children says Namaste and good morning to the spiritual father. Essence for the dharana. First point, always have the awareness that you are Brahmins. God is only teaching us Brahmins. We are now becoming Brahmins who are to become deities. Second point, fill your aprons with the jewels of knowledge and donate them. Leave the shores of this iron-aged, impure world. Do not be afraid of the storms of Maya. Blessing. May you be a master creator who stays away from all attractions of creation with your powerful stage. Explanation. When a master creator remains stable in the powerful stage and intoxication of being master knowledgeful, he will then be able to stay away from all attractions. This is because the creation will now create even more different colors and forms. Therefore, all the mistakes that remain of childhood, such as carelessness, laziness, and a don't care attitude, you have to forget. You can then reveal your powerful form of a Shakti, your form of holding the weapons, and your constantly lead form. Only then will you be called a master creator. Slogan. Be so hard means firm in the state of your mind that no situation is able to melt it. Om Shanti